Good evening, a very warm welcome to this edition of Business at 9 here on ET Now. I'm Vikram Oza with the big buzzing business news of the day. This is a significant move. It's aimed at boosting consumption and driving up the economic growth in the country. The government has decided and approved the formation of the 8th Pay Commission for central government employees. That decision is part of a broader strategy. The strategy is to enhance disposable incomes and stimulate demand. Also, it includes a commitment to establish pay commissions at regular intervals, ensuring a systematic approach to wage adjustments for government employees. This announcement was made earlier today. We've got you an excerpt of what was said by the Information and Broadcasting Minister, Ashwini Vaishnaw.
केंद्र सरकार के सभी कर्मचारियों के लिए 8th सेंट्रल पे कमीशन को मंजूरी दे दी। 8th सेंट्रल पे कमीशन आप सब जानते हैं 1947 से अब तक 7 पे कमीशंस हुए हैं और प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक रेगुलर रिदम के साथ पे कमीशन बनाने का जो एक संकल्प लिया है उसके हिसाब से 2016 में लास्ट पे कमीशन 7th पे कमीशन स्टार्ट हुआ था तो 2026 में इसका टर्म कंप्लीट होता है। उससे वेल बिफोर 2025 में 8th पे कमीशन स्टैब्लिश करने से सफिशिएंट टाइम मिलेगा so that the recommendations can be received well before the completion of the period of 7th pay commission.
Well, that was the announcement. Let's discuss the implications with Mr. Ajay Dua. He's the former secretary with the Ministry of India and Commerce Industries, the Government of India. Mr. Dua, it's good to have you with us to discuss this. Tell us, how do you see the 8th Pay Commission influencing overall economic growth and consumption, both in the short to the medium term?
Thank you for having me, Vikram, on your show. I think it's a very good move, timely move from the union government to set up this commission because usually the outflow from the government, whenever the pay commissions have been set up in the past, have been significant. And by and large, these outflows reflect in higher consumption levels because the government servants are in a wide band what the previous 7th commission classified from level 1 to level 9 and then grades within that. The ones in the lower levels and the lower grades invariably have a very high propensity to consume. That means they almost spend away whatever they receive by way of consumption. So straight away, you would see from about 1 crore 4 lakh employees, with about 49 lakh working and 64 or 65 lakhs pensioners, it totals to over 114 lakh employees, that a lot of them will start spending more and help revive the economy by boosting its commission.
Right. So you think there is
consumption.
Right. But you think that this is going to be a significant impact on consumption. There is going to be the potential fiscal impact as well, Mr. Dua. The government is going to try and, balance wage increases with fiscal discipline. We're talking just ahead of the union budget presentation. How much of an impact does the government have to take there?
Let me say that, yes, I will not deny that it is going to impact the salary outgoings and pensionary outgoings from the government, and that would reflect in increased expenditure. But a fair amount of it can be offset if the consumption increases. Consumption would lead to private sector, which has today been holding back from investing. Even though they do have capacity, they've made good profit over the years. They are able to leverage their holdings. If greater investment follows, it certainly means there will be a higher pace of growth of the economy.
So, yes. So you think this could kind of boost private capex, which has been lagging, is something that you're indicating. But do you really believe that regular pay commission intervals could set a precedent for wage adjustments in the private sector as well? Because there would be broader implications. We have been talking about slow wage hikes in the current scenario.
Yes, it should. But I think the direct impact and the indirect impact is what we should be looking at. In the immediate effect of whatever the government does is going to be on the public sector undertakings, the salaries, outgoings for the public sector and undertakings, as well as the government banks. Workforce, which is in the government, be it in the railways, defense, a lot of people get employed part-time, full-time, their out the expenditure on them will increase. And on the whole, yes, if one side the wages increase, there is going to be, if you want to maintain a stability in the system, you don't want people to all move wherever the wages are higher, then to retain your employees, even the private sector would need to hike up the wages of its workers in particular. I think in terms of the senior executives, probably there is not much effect of what happens in the government
Sure.
because, say, it was 2.25 is the maximum salary for a epic scale in the government for a secretary to government, and the cabinet secretary is the lone
Yes.
cabinet secretary gets 2.5 lakhs. Now, even if there is a 180 to 85% increase,
Yes.
because last time so-called fitment allowance, that means everybody's, because the pay commission was recommending a 10-year structure.
Correct.
After a gap of 10 years, then everybody's salary got increased
Yes.
by 0.57 times.
But this increase, Mr. Dua, only kicks in after 2026. It's, of course, going to bring salary hikes. But at this point in time, when we want India Inc. to invest more, bring in more private capex in the economy, this is going to come a little later, isn't it?
Certainly, the commission is actually too late. The previous one was set up 1.5 years in advance
Yes.
of the terminal date. That was 1st January 2016. So the next commission's recommendations will become effective from 1st January 26. That means 11 months from now, from the time the budget is presented. So I would think, yes, that while it will become effective next year, the increase during the current year, whatever impact we want to bring about by increase consumption at the entry level of the income tax bracket, that means the low middle income, etc., such incentives would have to be given in the forthcoming budget, which is due on the 1st of February, and not await the recommendations of the pay commission, which very rightly you mentioned come into force only the following year.
That's correct, Mr. Dua. So in terms of this decision of the government, I'm wondering if you can help us assess the political brinkmanship about the timing of the decision. Do you relate it to the political landscape right now? Delhi polls are just around the corner and we have a budget session playing out.
Yes, certainly. There would be an impact, of a favorable impact in favor of the ruling party, because Delhi has probably the largest agglomeration of government servants as well as the pensioners. Several of them, even if they hail from other parts of the country, decide to retire here for whatever reason. They've got used to it, serving here for 35 to 40 years, etc. But if the pay commission has been set up, it would certainly be something which they will look upon it favorably, and the decision makers also can hope to benefit from the very fact that the pay commission has not been forgotten, because there were murmurs that, look, why has the pay commission been delayed when in the past a year and a half or so in advance they were being set up, and this year everybody knew that the effect of the existing pay commission expired on 1st to 31st December 2025. Why has it not been set up?
Exactly.
So the central government today, in its cabinet meeting, has kind of realized that fact and taken the call, the necessary, essential call to set up.
Now, but it's going to kick in only in 2026. The announcement, of course, coming in as late as it is, and the impact of that is going to be felt much later. But that's where We are leaving it, Mr. Dua. Thank you very much for joining us with your insights. It's a crucial policy decision, and it's clear that the 8th Pay Commission is going to be a significant step towards, economic implications. There are going to be a plenty in terms of consumption and general growth. Your perspectives help us understand the implications. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. Meanwhile, big news today. Hindenburg Research's Nate Anderson, the man who made his name with campaigns that target billionaires Gautam Adani, Jack Dorsey, Carl Icahn, has said that he's disbanding his small but renowned firm, Hindenburg Research. Now, Anderson has cited, and I'm quoting him, he's talking about the toll of the rather intense and at times all-encompassing nature of the work as the reason for this decision. That's what the founder of Hindenburg Research has said for pulling the plug on the firm. We got in lots of commentary, some of them political as well. Senior advocate Mahesh Jethmalani had this to say about it.
Well, see, the timing is very suspicious. There's no doubt about it, because it comes just 4 days before the Trump administration takes office. And I have no doubt that Hindenburg was just a front for the democratic deep state controlled by George Soros. So he was only a fly-by-night operator. So I think the timing is very auspicious. I think the Trump administration should investigate this whole thing, and probably will investigate this whole thing, right? India has been a very, it's been an ally in Quad with the US. And for this to have happened to India is a stab in the back. This was actually a very Machiavellian and very, sinister exercise against the Indian economy. It was an attempt to try and control India, right? The attempt was to indicate to India that we have the ability to rock your economy.
That's what we got from Mahesh Jethmalani about Hindenburg Research now pulling the plug on the firm. We'll see exactly what Nate Anderson does after this. But for the moment, we take a quick breather.